Hi guys, Abbas here from Windsor, Ontario. Check out this fourplex that I purchased. This is my first rental property that I ever bought, and I'm currently house hacking it. So come check it out. So as you guys can see, we got 4 units here. We got 2 units on the main floor, 2 units up top. The layout is a little strange just because this is not a purpose-built building. This is actually originally was a commercial store. I believe it was like a grocery store or something. And I think somewhere around the 80s, someone bought it and redeveloped it, repurposed it to 4 residential units. So once again, 2 units on the main floor, 2 units up top. All the tenants pay their own utilities, which is great. Now, looking on the outside, you can't really know what the layout is. So this unit here on the left, this door on the left, is for the unit number A on the main floor, and the door on the right actually goes up to the 2 units. And what's great about this property is each unit has 2 doors, so 2 entrances and 2 exits. And if we come around here, we can see that all the units have different separate utilities. So we have 3 gas meters. That's because only the units on the main floor have forced air gas and central air. The 2 units up top have electric baseboard heating. So we got 2 gas meters for each unit on the main floor, and then that 3rd gas meter, that's actually for the basement for the hot water tanks to heat up the hot water. So we have 1 unit here and 1 unit in the back. That's actually where I live, the back unit, unit B, and we have 4 separate electric meters. This is what you want to see as an investor, that all the tenants are paying their own utilities. We also have parking in the back, so there's like 8-car parking. There's 4 spots where you could park 2 cars per spot, front and back. So 8 spots in total, plus there's a shed there for extra storage that I'm currently using. This is the great entrance over here. So this goes down to the basement. It's mostly just storage area, and it's a common laundry. So there's only 1 washer and 1 dryer that all the tenants use to do their laundry there. And there's also the furnaces and 2 furnaces, 2 hot water tanks. So that's that. And like I said, each unit has 2 separate entrances. So that's that unit in the front. You've seen the other entrance in the front. This is my entrance, and the other one is on this side where the kitchen is. If we come around here, underneath these stairs, there's actually another entrance for my unit, and this black metal staircase, this goes up for the 2 units up top. So once again, each unit has their own 2 entrances and 2 exits. So corner lot property, you got parking, you got extra storage. So at the time when I was analyzing this deal, I seen that another wholesaler had it. Fourplexes were going for between 500 and 600,000, and I jumped on for this one. It was only 418,000. I actually had a wholesale deal around the corner from here, and I was thinking about buying that property myself and moving in there and doing a house hack for that duplex. It was a duplex with a potential 3rd unit in the basement, but I opted to just wholesale that. I made 25,000 off that deal, and then I rolled those profits into this one. I put about 50,000 down, and just to give you guys some numbers, I mentioned I bought it for 418. It was actually $417,700 to be exact. That included a $15,000 assignment fee for the wholesaler that had this deal. And I actually got approved for a private mortgage through a mortgage broker, and the mortgage was for $380,000 at 11% interest. And at the time, I did all this with bad credit, so it's totally doable. If you don't have the credit, you might have to take the private mortgage route, but at the end of the day, the deal made sense to me. I figured even if I was stuck with the fourplex, that the rent from the 4 units would be more than enough to cover the mortgage payment, even with a private mortgage. So that's why the deal just made sense. Obviously, we had a crazy run up in prices here, especially in Windsor, but pretty much all over North America with the pandemic and inflation taking over. So I bought it for $417, put about $150,000 into it. It's worth $950,000 today. I refinanced it twice. So last year I refinanced it. I reduced my mortgage from 11% down to 7.9%, and I pulled out over $200,000. And then this year I refinanced again. It appraised for $950, and I got approved with an A lender. I have a mortgage for about $725 now. So I paid off that $650 and put about $68,000 in my pocket, all tax free. And I'm not worried about paying back that debt because the tenants are paying the mortgage. So once I move out of here and rent out my 4th unit, it'll just make that deal so much sweeter. And talk about value add, when I first bought the building, I had 2 units that were legit 3-bedroom units. They're very spacious units, and then 1 unit was a 2-bedroom and 1 was a 1-bedroom. So I actually turned the 2-bedroom into a 3-bedroom and turned the 1-bedroom into a 2-bedroom. So as of today, 3 units are a 3-bedroom and 1 unit is 2-bedroom. So that increases the value of the building when you're looking at comps. And comparing it to other fourplexes and just looking at it from the income approach, it's making more income per unit because you got more beds. So all around, just a great value add play. I'm really happy with how it turned out. If you guys seen it before, we'll make sure to include some photos. It looked terrible. Like, we painted the whole exterior. It looks really sharp now. It's like a off gray kind of bluish tint to it, black trim. So it really pops out. It was just white stucco before. It looked absolutely terrible. The building was like peeling. The stucco was peeling. It was really run down. They didn't have the greatest tenants in here. People would be partying up top. So we're really just cleaning up the neighborhood as well. And there's no parties here anymore. You know, good tenants, families are moving in here, and just really turning around the building helps turn around the neighborhood, you know, property by property, one by one. It really makes a difference. And it was a great investment. And this is how I got started. This is my first rental, as I said. Just started by wholesaling and took those profits to buy this building. I did a full BRRRR on it, and I can't show you all the units because I have them tenanted. So 3 out of the 4 are tenanted. So I don't want to disturb them, but come check out my unit. I'll show you that 4th unit that I'm currently living in. Welcome to my home. This is my unit that I'm living in the 4-plex. This is the living room. This is my dining area, little 2-seater kitchen and table. This is where we eat, obviously. Got some shelving. There's a closet behind you there. And this one was actually 1 bedroom when I purchased it. So this bedroom was existing. It's a decent size. I have a double bed in there, and this wall was not here actually. This was all open. This was originally the dining area, and this was just a super big 1 bedroom. What I really loved about this property is all the units were very spacious. As I mentioned earlier, I was able to turn that 2-bedroom unit into a 3-bedroom, and this 1 bedroom into 2-bedroom. This is kind of like a den. It is a smaller room. I use it as an office space for my business, but this is where the magic happens, and we make some wholesale deals happen. So I have my desk, printer, and yeah, this is where I work. So I figured I'm not gonna live here forever. When I do decide to move out, now I can rent this as a 2-bedroom rather than a 1-bedroom, or at least a 1-bedroom plus office or a 1-bedroom plus den, commanding more market rent, and this increases the value of the building. And like I said, this wall wasn't here, so we put this up. And what was really interesting is the tenants that used to live here, you know, they were very interesting to say the least. There's graffiti all over the walls. They're writing in permanent marker. There was actually, we gotta show these guys a photo of what was on this wall. There was like a freaking demon on this wall in permanent marker. It was actually kind of impressive on how they drew it. A bit spooky too, so I had to come here with some sage, but it's painted over. But yeah, you guys will see the before pictures. It was all like carpet here. I changed all the windows in this unit, both doors, windows, floor, paint. Again, added this wall to make this another bedroom. This bathroom, we fully renovated it. It was basically a gut job. Now, this bathroom was much smaller. This wall right here was like closer to here. And I was joking around with some people saying, the sink and the toilet were so close together, you could be sitting on the toilet doing your business and washing your hands at the same time. That's how compact it was. So my realtor gave me some advice. She said, hey, why don't you move this wall out here, make the bathroom a bit bigger. I'm glad I did that. We got a stand-up shower in here as well. And let me show you guys the kitchen. Over here we got the kitchen. Originally it was like old orange cabinets. The cracked tile floor was also orange. Water was getting in here. New appliances and new cabinet. I went with the quartz. I was thinking originally maybe I'll put this as an Airbnb after I move out, but I'm not sure if this is the right unit to do that for. But I mean, once I move out of here, I'll get market rent, something like this, easily $1,200 a month in rent. Maybe I can push like $1,400. I even installed camera system after the fact. But yeah, it's not bad for a bachelor, or when I bought this place, I was a bachelor. Now, you know, I have a girlfriend, but for just being 1 or 2 people in here is, it's more than enough space. And the best part, I'm basically living for free. The 3 units brings in over $4,200 a month in rent, and my mortgage is about $3,800. So just from the 3 units, it's more than enough to cover my mortgage. So, you know, I'm never stressed out about paying a $3,800 mortgage. The tenants are paying it for me. Now I do come out of pocket for, you know, property tax, insurance, utilities. There's other costs associated with real estate, but that's very comparable to me renting a place anyways. Whereas I pulled out all my equity. There's still 200 grand of equity in the property. Now I owe close to $750. It's worth $950. There's 200 grand of equity. After I pulled out almost 300. So at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with a deal like this. And house hack, whether it covers a portion of your expenses or all of them and then some, this was a really fantastic deal. And yeah, I'm glad I could share it with you guys. It was a long time coming. It's been a goal of mine for several years before I did it. And just a couple months ago, back in May 2023, I was able to refinance with an A lender. So just to give you guys some background story, when I bought it, I had bad credit. I was working full time, but my credit was crap. So I got into wholesaling, started making some money, and took those profits and used that for my down payment and renovation money. And I actually got referred to a mortgage broker. He got me approved for a private mortgage. And the best thing, since I got a really good deal on the buy, when I bought it for $417,700 to be exact, from another wholesaler, as I mentioned. I got it appraised. It appraised at $465 as is. So it was worth almost $50,000 more than what I bought it for. So you're making money in the buy. At the time of purchase, this is going back to August, September 2020 when I made the decision to buy this property. The closing wasn't until December. So at that time when I looked at this deal, I looked at other fourplexes in the city, and I realized most of them are selling between $500 and $600. I figured this property is $100,000 below value, in my opinion. Not only that, for the first time, I really found a property that made sense to buy with private money, because private money is expensive. So 11% mortgage, it only made sense because I figured if I have 4 units rented out, you know, that's going to cover my mortgage. And that's what gave me confidence to go ahead and buy this deal. The numbers just made sense. So I put about $150,000 into it. And on top of my $50,000 down payment, I had some holding costs because it was vacant. So I got lucky with vacant possession. And about the 5-month mark or so after renovations, I got my first tenant, then I had the second tenant, and then the third tenant. So half the year was vacant. That's another holding cost that I had to pay. But after the fact, the deal still made sense. And last year I refinanced with Calvert, which is another private hard money lender, and I went from 11% down to 7.9%. And they gave me 70% loan to value approval. So at the time, I think it was appraised at $925. So they gave me a mortgage for about $650, $647, $700 to be exact. That paid off my first mortgage. So the first mortgage I had was $380. I ended up putting a second private mortgage. It was actually RSP for 30 grand. So I owed $410, refinanced for about $647. And then that $647 paid off that $410, and that difference of over $200,000 I got a check for. So it's tax-free money. It's, you know, the BRRRR method. There's some fees involved. I think I walked away with $218,000. And then this year again, it appraised for $950 still. And I got approved. I think it's about 75%, give or take. So they gave me a mortgage of $725, and then that paid off Calvert's $647, and then I pocketed the difference once again, $68,000. So, you know, that's as good as it gets when it comes to the BRRRR. And yeah, looking forward to doing more deals like this. Now there is a couple mistakes I've done with this property. It's not all rainbow and unicorns and sunshine. You know, buying this property, I had good knowledge with sales and marketing. I was pretty good at wholesaling, but I wasn't super familiar with the construction aspect. So some of the stuff I was just learning as I went. I didn't have the greatest contractor in the beginning. I had to fire him basically. They stopped showing up and went with another contractor midway through the project, but I got it done at the end of the day. But the mistake was this exterior wall. This is plaster on top of block. There is no insulation. Now, I was very new, like I said, very green to renovations, and in hindsight, I probably should have framed it in, but I didn't want to because this kitchen's already kind of small, so I was gonna lose, I don't remember how many inches, but it would get even smaller. And then I figured, you know what, this building's been here for decades. It's been fine. I talked to the previous tenant and the owner. You know, there was no issues in terms of insulation, but in hindsight, I probably would have framed it in. So this exterior wall going to the kitchen, to the office, to the bedroom, and then the other wall from the bedroom to the living room, all of the exterior, because on this side, we're connected to the neighboring unit. In the wintertime, this wall is freezing. So that's something that I probably should have done. Again, I didn't want to lose the space, so I kind of made that sacrifice. And also between my unit and the neighbor's unit, the tenant's unit, they have 3 little kids. I did not insulate that wall. Big mistake. Going back, I wish I would have, because plaster, if you don't know, it's like paper thin. It sounds like those kids are in my unit. It's super loud. And funny story, as we came out of the pandemic, supply chain shortages, I ordered a couch. It took almost like 11 months to come in. So when I first moved in here, I actually had my bed in the living room. I was sleeping in the living room, right? So that's closer to the neighbors, the tenant's unit. It was super, super loud. I was getting very, very frustrated because it was very loud, and I regret not insulating that wall, and I didn't have that couch. But fast forward now, I got the couch is in the living room, I moved the bed into the bedroom. So now that I'm further away from that wall, and there's another wall from the bedroom that's separating, that helps reduce the noise. It's not that big of a deal, but I just know when I go rent this out, maybe I should insulate that wall. So just something for you guys to keep in mind if you guys ever decide to do a house hack, or you're just renovating their duplex, triplex, just any multi-unit. Keep that in mind. You don't want your tenants moving in and out because they can't handle the noise, and it's super annoying and frustrating for them. So just a couple things that I would have done differently, but overall I'm happy how this project turned out. It was a great ROI and a lot of lessons learned for myself. So I'm excited to show you guys the next property. It's actually a 7-plex that I bought, where I'm doing an office hack, mixed-use property where I'm going to have a commercial space in one of those units and allocate that for my business. So that should be a free unit, basically, just like this, but instead of residential where I'm living, it's going to be a commercial space where I'm going to have my business. So stay tuned for that.